Hey everyone, Jay Sherm here. In today's episode, we have successful entrepreneur Sara Sabin with me on the podcast today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jason, or is it Jay? Shall I call you Jay?
It's my online kind of moniker is Jay Sherm, but it's Jason, so it's kind of like a shortened little version of my entire name.
Very clever.
Yeah,
Okay, Jason it is.
Jason. Yeah, and today we're talking about the 5 magic ingredients for business and holistic success, which sounds really interesting to me. And since there are 5, I kind of want to jump right in because, it's a lot to cover. Let's talk about those 5 magic ingredients. What's the first one?
So the first one is purpose and vision.
I like that. So you need to know exactly what it is you're doing. You need to have it kind of laid out, like a plan of action, I guess, and lay it all out on even a mind. What are those called? Those mind boards or whatnot, where you kind of.
Yeah, so actually I'm just going to clarify that a little bit more because this is more than a plan. It's more of a mission. And actually to just put this in context briefly, I have had 2 startups before I started my coaching business. And what I found is that I didn't really have that sense of vision and purpose or strong pull towards my startups. And so any success I had didn't feel holistic because I wasn't emotionally connected
Hmm.
to the overall vision of what I was trying to create.
It sounds like more
So,
of a mindset. Kind of like making yourself kind of be in the actual element of what you're doing versus just like the technical pieces of it. So is that a lot of what you do is coming up with like the mindset, crafting the vision of what you would like to bring to fruition in the future? Is that what you do?
it is a part of what I do. Any good transformational coach will want to help their clients understand, what is the bigger picture of what you're trying to create here. And to put it into an analogy, if you have a GPS or sat nav system or whatever you want to call it, you need to put in a program to get somewhere. And then obviously it will adapt routes along the way. There'll be traffic, you'll go another way, but you're going in a direction versus getting in a car and just driving.
Got it. That makes sense. I like the analogy. So what's the second magic ingredient?
So the second one is commitment and resilience. And
These are great.
thank you, Jason. Commitment and resilience really go hand in hand. So I love analogies, so I'm just going to jump in with another one.
Sure, I love those.
Um, when you are committed to something, you will make it happen, whatever happens. So, an example of that is you're trapped in a burning building. You're probably not going to be like, oh, yeah, I'll try and get out. I'll try my best. If I don't, no worries. You're going to be like, right, I'm going to find a way to get out of that
I'm
building.
jumping out the window.
Exactly. So, you have that real element of commitment. And to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to have that commitment to making it happen. And you may course correct, you may pivot, you may tweak, but the overall vision, you're committed to making it happen, even if you have to change along the way. And linked to that is resilience, because in the course of committing to something, things will go wrong. There will be obstacles, and you need to be resilient enough to dust yourself off, get back up, and
I mean,
really learn from what went wrong.
the famous saying, fail fast, right? So the whole point of an entrepreneur's lifetime is to fail as quickly as possible and learn from that failure so that you can move quicker and succeed quicker by learning from those mistakes. So I'm going to guess that this might be the next magic ingredient.
Genius. Yes. Prepare to fail.
Failing? Okay, because like that's a very common thing in entrepreneurship is being prepared to fail. So
Yes.
that's good. That's a good one because that's probably one of the most important ones. Do you have like an analogy for that, or do you have like a story you can tell me about that?
So, just to actually build on your point, fail fast, fail forward. But an analogy isn't coming to mind. But what I am going to say to kind of demonstrate this point is that with with achieving more, there is more that you need to put into it. There's going to be a leap or a gap that you need to cross in order to get from where you are to where you want to be if it's a big goal. And
Makes
if
sense.
you are not prepared to fail along that path, you will play small, you will not take enough risks. I'm not saying you should take crazy risks all the time. You take balanced risks, but some people are literally so terrified to fail that they don't even start anything because in their head, they're like already thinking before they've started, what if I fail?
That makes sense.
And it's interesting. It made me think of this workshop I did. I think it's about 3 years ago now, something like that. And I asked one of the attendees, what do you want to create? And he said that stirred up so much emotion in me that I was literally paralyzed. I couldn't answer it because the first question that came into my head was, what if I fail?
That's a good thing, right? I mean, most entrepreneurs don't understand the fact that failure is just part of entrepreneurship, and they see all the successes in the news and the companies raising hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, and they say, well, I have an idea that can do the same thing. But what they don't realize is that 99% of the companies out there that start fail and don't get any money. So you have to, I always tell entrepreneurs, you have to start your journey with the mindset that you're not going to succeed. Be passionate about the idea so that it's not about you as much as it is the idea. Because if you get if you take it too personal, if you take all the failures so personal, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to just keep beating yourself down. And so I'm going to guess that this is somewhere along the lines of maybe going into the next magic ingredient is maybe trying to persevere through all this and not take it so personal.
Uh, no, I'm going to surprise you.
Okay, good.
No, before I surprise you, just to finish off on the failure point, that's why the purpose and vision is so important, right? Because when you have that,
Of course.
that kind of motivates you through the tough times and compels you to carry on and find another way. So, coming on to number 4, willingness to face your internal demons.
Ooh, that's a good one. So it is kind of personal, I guess, but it's a little different though. It's more about, wrestling all those bad feelings you have and trying to get past your ego maybe. I want to hear it from you. Let's hear this.
Okay, so basically, and this is the point with holistic success. You can have overall success in business and just be really chronically stressed, anxious, scared you're going to lose everything tomorrow, etc. And so for me, that's not holistic success, although everyone else might tell you that you're successful. It's about acknowledging that there are things that you are going to need to deal with as you up level. So if you are consistently up leveling, new things will come up, new anxieties, new fears, new beliefs, depression, because the elephant in the room is so many high performers and entrepreneurs suffer from depression. And, you can only ignore it for a finite period of time before eventually it will catch up to you. So it's better that you deal with things internally and your internal environment as you are going along so that things don't accumulate. And actually, what I have found is that when I made a commitment to do that, yes, sometimes it was painful and it was hard, but it magnifies the impact of the actions that you take in the outside world. And there is a reason for that, because you are not bearing anything. You're acknowledging your emotions, positive or negative. You're dealing with them, you're letting go of them, and you're moving on. So I'm not a fan of false positivity. Like you can't go from I'm really angry with this person to I love this person 1 second later.
That sounds very bipolar to me.
Yes.
I kind of feel like I'm in a therapy session here from what I'm listening to. It's a lot about getting your emotions out in the open and trying to, stay on the right side of things. Because I mean, entrepreneurship is very lonely, right? Especially when when you're a solo founder, like I've been a solo founder a million times, and you want to take on the world, you have new ideas, you want to build things, you want people to try those things, and you don't have anybody to talk to or bounce those ideas off of. And then even when you have co-founders and you have a team and you have a startup, it still can be very lonely because you may be the only one who sees the real vision. They see the overall vision, right? The company vision. But what about your like your moral vision, like your personal vision? Like it's kind of sometimes hard to really relay that. I'm facing it today with one of my startups. You know, like I have a whole team, lots of people, and we're all kind of gung ho ahead. But to get them to understand exactly what I feel is very hard to do. So I just try to keep pushing it on them. And that leads us into number 5. I want to hear this. What's the 5th magic ingredient? I'm dying to know.
Well, it's 3 words, which are all the same. Focus, 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 and
Ooh,
don't settle. So,
it's another good one.
unless you have unlimited resources, unlimited money, and well, no one has unlimited time, but the aforementioned things create more time. Unless you have that, you need to focus. And this is especially hard for entrepreneurs, right? Because they have the shiny object syndrome.
Squirrel,
And they're like,
squirrel.
yeah, exactly. So it's constant distraction from the actual thing that you're trying to do. So to get more specific about what I mean by that is focus offerings or products, depending on what kind of business it is that you have. You don't need 80 different products at the same time unless you have a team to support that. You need a few things that work really well and serve your customers. 2, marketing. Again, what I see a lot of is, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the other, and I'm doing a million different marketing things. And they have like one or a few poor, overstretched marketing people that are trying to do all of this. And no one knows actually what they're trying to achieve or what the outcomes are or the measurables are. So it's a load of people running around like headless chickens. And and the third thing is profit. So it's all very well if you are $1 million a year business, but if your profit margin is 10%, that's not so good.
Right.
So it's about understanding as well to create that profit rather. What do you invest in because it's going to grow your business? What are you spending money and time and resources on that you don't need to be spending it on? In order, and also as well, customer wise, because this tends to be a very common thing with my clients, working with these really low margin customers that they actually don't particularly want to be working with. So three words: focus, and 3 things to focus on.
That's great. Those are some really, really fantastic magic ingredients. I really, really like it a lot. And you mentioned your clients. So I want to finish off with what it is that you do for your clients and some of the things that you tell your clients to do, maybe to succeed or to take a break from the daily grind of being an entrepreneur. Or is there anything you want to tell people that, like a little bit of a tidbit that we can entice them to come visit you and where they can visit you?
Yes. So I'm going to talk about the 2 primary audiences I work with and some general entrepreneur tidbits. So I work with leaders and entrepreneurs of high growth businesses. So basically, they're businesses that are past the startup stage. They are usually around the 7-figure mark, and they are in growth phase looking to scale up. But because they're entrepreneurs or because it grew organically, they need to really focus on leadership, skills development, high performing teams, and basically how to get the best out of people. So in that respect, I help them to get to the next level. And I also work with coaches that want to build a 6-figure business working with high performing leaders and entrepreneurs. So the complete roadmap from inside to outside as to how they get there.
Nice.
And to cover your final point, Jason,
Yes.
Remind me your question was tidbits for entrepreneurs,
Yeah,
right?
like what what do you say to someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to succeed, has a business, wants to scale? Like, what are your, is it the five magic points, or do you have some other kind of thing you can leave us off with, and where they can find you? Like, where can people find you? Do you have anything you want to offer the listeners or people watching this?
Yes. So, yes, the five magic ingredients are really useful. I have some free resources. So, for coaches, I have a guide on 6 myths about building a six-figure coaching business and what to do instead, which you can find at sarasabin.com/guide. That's
Nice.
Sarah without an H. Although I know in the US that's more common, it's not so much in the UK.
That's okay.
And
Sarah
for
without an H, Sarah without an H, Sabin.com/guide. Get the guide.
And then I also have sarasabin.com, where you can also find a load of resources for leadership and scaling up. And I write for Entrepreneur Magazine and the Fast Company as well.
Awesome.
Final thought for the day for
Yes.
entrepreneurs: be prepared to fail. And two, stop thinking about doing something, just start doing it and take small steps, because small steps taken cumulatively, can't even say the word, lead, lead to big results.
I think you got it right. Micro tasks become macro tasks. I like it. Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. This was awesome. And I hope everybody loved the five magic ingredients. I know I did. And check out sarasabin.com/guide. Get that guide right now. And we will see everybody in next week's episode.